So what are the African Great Lakes? Well, this is the Eastern and Southeastern Africa. These are 7 multi-use lakes, and they're all bi or multinational. If you've not seen them before, we have Lake Albert, Lake Edward, Lake Kivu, Lake Malawi, Nyasa, named in different countries, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Turkana, and Lake Victoria, which is the second largest lake by surface area in the world, second only to Lake Superior in our backyard. And we work with all of the experts from each of the 10 riparian countries of the African Great Lakes. Again, the lakes contain over 25% of the world's fresh water. That's compared to the 21% in the North American Great Lakes. Again, I think the biggest difference is how many people are on the shores of these lakes and depend on them specifically for their livelihoods. So I'll go over a few of the lakes just so we get to know them better. This is Lakes Edward and Albert. They're the only ones out of the African Great Lakes that are really one system. Lake Edward flows into Lake Albert and then into the Nile and then heads north. Lake Albert has the lowest fish diversity, but supports over 170,000 tons of fish per year. To put that into perspective, the North American Great Lakes, our 5 enormous Great Lakes together, have just over 45,000 tons. Lake Edward is the smallest of the African Great Lakes. It still has over 80 species of fish. To give you another example, the North American Great Lakes have 113 species in all. And so this is actually one of the lower diversity lakes in Africa. And they still employs 2,000 fishers. Lake Kivu is the second to last smallest African Great Lake, still supporting over 500,000 people in Rwanda and the DRC with fish protein and playing a critical role in protein for the country's citizens. This is the lake with many names, as I mentioned. It's Lake Nyasa in Mozambique, Lake Nyasa in Tanzania, and Lake Malawi in Malawi, supporting over 56,000 fisheries, about 116,000 tons of fish a year. So this lake alone pulls out well more than the North American Great Lakes. It's the 3rd deepest lake in the world, and is one of the most species diverse, species rich lakes in the world, along with Tanganyika and Lake Victoria. When we're talking about diversity, we're talking about those really beautiful fish that we usually see in aquariums, the cichlid flocks, cichlid haplochromides, which are diverse and also a part of major trade throughout the world. So a lot of people go to these lakes, pull out these fish, and then use them for income. Lake Tanganyika, this is an impressive lake. It's the 2nd oldest freshwater lake, has a very long retention time. 2nd largest lake by volume and 2nd deepest lake in the world. It's 2nd only in all of those to Lake Baikal in Russia. It supports over 2,000 species of fish, with 500 not found anywhere else in the world. Lake Turkana is a very fun lake. It's in the cradle of mankind. It's the largest permanent desert lake in the world, being the most saline because the evaporation rates are so high. And no outlet. And so you just have evaporation and salt buildup. The only river, the largest river input is the Omo River out of coming south out of Ethiopia. Lake Victoria, which I did my PhD studies on, is the 2nd largest again in surface area. It hosts the most prolific inland fishery in the world with over 1 million tons of fish per year. So slightly over the North American Great Lakes. All of these lakes, as we're all aware, as well as our North American lakes, all the lakes in Canada, freshwater everywhere, are threatened mainly by climate change and climate variations. When you start having climate variations that affect crops and animal husbandry, you tend to see people moving away from drier lands into areas which aren't suitable for living and towards large freshwater resources. So we've seen this general human migration towards the African Great Lakes. And I'll show you in just a moment. But whenever you have increased human population, you have increased anthropogenic activities and effects. So you have more fishing, you have more sedimentation and nutrient enrichment from crops, water use, declining fisheries resources, species introductions like invasive species. So all of these exacerbate the threats.